This is 5.4, number 69. So on the left, we have our function f of x. And then on the right, we have the area functions. So this is the area function. And this is our original function. Oops, no dt, just f of t. And so my goal is to figure out which one here matches with this one here. So let's do this. I think there's going to be, what's really cool about this, there's a lot of ways to do this. And once you kind of figure out some secrets, it becomes even easier and easier as you go. All right. So let's try this. Okay. This is an area function. You keep on getting the net area. So if you look at this, I'm going to do little strips of area. You got the area here. And as I move right, we keep on adding the same amount of area over and over. So the area function is going to keep increasing at a regular rate. So as I move to the right, it increases the same amount over and over and over. The only one that matches up with that is this. As I move to the right, it increases the same amount each time because each, whoops, last one's messed up. Because each area in the next slice is the same amount. So you keep on adding more and more area, you add the same amount each time, you get a nice even increase. So C is going to match up with this one. Okay? Now for the next one, take a look. At first you add a big chunk, then you add a smaller chunk, then you add a very small chunk. So it's going to increase. At first it increases fast, but then it slows down. Okay, increases fast, but then it slows down. That's why it flattens out on the right there. And then here you subtract a small chunk. Then you subtract a bigger chunk. You subtract a bigger chunk and subtract even bigger chunk. So as you move to the right, you're subtracting pieces, so it starts to get smaller and smaller. So that's why this starts to decrease, because you're subtracting more and more, and it gets back to 0. So that one's going to match up with D. And then let's look at this one. You add a small chunk, then you add a bigger chunk, then you add a really big chunk halfway through, but then you add a smaller chunk, you add a smaller chunk, and you add a really small chunk. So it's going to slowly increase, then increase really fast, then slowly increase. So it's going to slowly increase faster, then slowly increase. It's always increasing. So D matches up with this one. And then we'll do the last one here. You're going to subtract at the beginning because it's below. Subtract a little, subtract more, subtract a lot, subtract a medium, subtract a small. So for halfway, it's always decreasing. At first, you subtract a little, then you a lot, and then you little. So it's kind of slow, and then all of a sudden it drops fast, and then it slows down again. So it matches that. Then you start adding small chunk, bigger chunk, and smaller chunk. You add small, then big, then small. So it's going to match up with A. All right. Here is another way to do it. This is crazy. You ready for craziness? Watch this. I claim this is A prime of x. How do I know that? Because what's the derivative from a constant to x? If you take the derivative of that, you plug x in, it's f of x. F of x is the derivative. So if this is the derivative, watch what you can do with your brain. Look, the derivative is always positive. Therefore, it has to be increasing the whole time. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. It has to be one of these two. Look, this one's always positive. So if A prime is always positive, A must always be increasing. So these two have to match up with these two. Wait, is that right? I mess up. My brain, that doesn't work. I messed up somewhere. Wait, these can't both be D. This one's B. What's wrong with you, Yoshida? Okay, let's do more. And I'm recording this. This is embarrassing. Okay, so look, what happens right there? A prime changes from positive to negative. That means you have a relative max there. That has a relative max. Dun, dun, dun. Watch this. Here, A prime, this is A prime, goes from negative to positive. That means there's a relative min there. Which one has a relative min there? That one does. So a lot of things match up. It's not just one way to do that. I can't believe, I must have said, I don't know. I don't know how I got D there. I messed up.